Let's see.
Real or not, the Denver Nuggets struggles this season.
Listen, there has to be some truth to this. Like, there has to be. There's already numbers. Was it Kirk Goldsberry that said this? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's already the on and off numbers about Russell Westbrook that are damning.
They're not good.
They have a positive net rating with him, without him on the court, and negative with him, and by a lot. Yeah. The numbers, we'll have to see where they actually like land in terms of NBA ranking after tonight. But there's that, and then the young guys. Now, these guys need time. I'll say that. Like, I like Strother, I like Christian Brown, I like Peyton Watson, all in a vacuum. As a collective that you're depending upon to help extend the Nikola Jokic championship window, it's tough.
Don't love it.
And the bigger issue, though, is it's not even them. It's before that. It's like Jamal Murray looks okay. You know, like, he doesn't look like the way he looked with Team Canada in the Olympics, where he just looked straight up like he looked like he barely belonged on that team. And that was a team that had hoped to medal and, you know, got bounced in the quarterfinals, which you and I were down on that team. And we liked France heading into that matchup, actually, at home. And then as it pertains to like elsewhere on the roster, because Jamal Murray is just kind of okay, Michael Porter Jr., I thought he'd be a lot better based on like what Matt was saying in terms of like how he was performing, and he was performing like leading up to the regular season, but for whatever reason it hasn't clicked yet. And Aaron Gordon's just kind of like, his flaws get magnified when these other guys aren't stepping up, because Aaron Gordon's a really good role player who's going to feed off of the shooting and the playmaking that some of these other guys could provide. And then it's like, all right, so can Nikola Jokic individually just drag you to 50 wins? Maybe, but based on what we've seen so far, I mean, overtime with the Raptors and overtime with the Nets is not necessarily encouraging.
No. I think that there are definitely some like warning signs, to be honest with you, with Denver. And I think the team, like, in theory, should maybe gel a little bit better, but like it's mostly the same. Like, the starting lineup is mostly the same. And like Michael Porter Jr. just like, he's the most frustrating person to bet on of all time, because you're just like, shoot the ball. Like, you're an incredible shooter. Shoot the ball. And he just like, he won't do it. So it looked like there was going to be a little bit more of an uptick in volume. And there's a slight uptick, but it definitely feels concerning, because they are, you know, relying on so many younger players. And I think that Christian Brown is really good. I think that he kind of cannibalizes some of the things that like Aaron Gordon does too. So it's like, I don't really think it's like the best on court fit. To have them both on the team. And then like Brown is like, you know, Russell Westbrook kind of does the same stuff. Like, except Russell Westbrook shoots too much, but like he kind of like, Brown doesn't shoot the ball. Neither does Aaron Gordon, really. They basically only dunk. If Westbrook only dunked, this might be okay, actually. But I do have some concerns with Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and Peyton Watson, like, I don't trust him like offensively at all, really, which is a concern. Like, is he more than a hybrid? Is he going to be more than a hybrid defender? Is going to be my question. I actually think the long-term solution will probably be for Julian Strother to take Christian Brown's spot in the starting lineup, just for the shooting, just because it's like, all right, they need a knockdown shooter in there if Jokic is going to, you know, run hot and cold from three, and, you know, and the times he shoots them. Aaron Gordon's obviously never been a shooter necessarily, and he can make a decent percentage on limited threes, but they're limited threes, so their spacing has just looked awkward. And I think Strother can actually give you that, because there's a world where he could become an actual 3-point specialist, and Christian Brown could play the Bruce Brown role sort of off the bench or whatever. You know, other than that, it's like they don't have enough shooting, they don't have enough depth, they don't really have enough size either. It's just a weird roster construction, and it's like the front office, for whatever reason, hasn't really, like, post title, they did get a title, but hasn't really gone all in that way. They let Bruce Brown walk, which that one I understood, and then the KCP one, which a little less defensible.
Yeah, no,
Is what I would
like,
say.
it's defensible from a money perspective. It's not
Yeah.
defensible from, like, a title perspective,
Yeah.
because it's
It
kind of
also
one of those.
they didn't pivot is the other thing. It's just like, all right, promotion to the young guys and we'll get Russell Westbrook and see what happens. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it
really?
feels like you're working for, like, a government agency where they're just like, "Yeah, sure, like, you're okay. Like,
Yeah.
we're not gonna pay you that." Like,
Will the Nuggets fall into the play-in?
uh, ooh, I I guess it's possible.
Okay.
It's definitely possible.
Okay. Let's pull up the West.
I'm doing that now. It's a
Okay.
little it's tough to do this with this early, but
Yeah, but like realistically,
it's totally possible.
like
I mean, the
OKC.
Clippers are gonna fall out. The Clippers are not gonna be a
Yeah,
top
yeah, yeah.
6 seed.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
Rockets, I don't think will be either.
Golden
Um,
State, like, okay. I don't think Golden State is better than a play-in team or much better than a play-in team.
and we got to know what's up with Curry.
Yes.
They're saying it's mild. He's being reevaluated on Friday. This screams to me like another 2 weeks.
It's the NBA. Sometimes guys are day to day and then they're out for 4 weeks. Like,
Yeah. Next thing you know,
like
Joel
just,
Embiid.
I always reference Jeremy Lin in 2016-17, where the Nets had him with a hamstring injury day to day for like 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it's just
preposterous sometimes.
This is like 8 years ago, but it's burned into my memory. OKC, Phoenix. A lot of people like Phoenix more in the regular season than Denver.
Yeah.
That's not a layup for me, but it's more likely
like
than
them
it's
both.
not. Like that has to be minus odds for them to have a better record.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Dallas.
I don't love Minnesota.
I
I will say they were taking an insane amount of threes.
Which is
like
surprising to me.
Eye-popping numbers of threes. Yeah, like Ant's taking over 50% of his shots from 3.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
intentional.
I it's intentional. I don't hate it for them. I think that it's probably a good idea for them to do this. Do I think the Julius Randle experiment is going to age great there? I don't know. Probably not. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded by the deadline for something, because
I agree with that.
I would be shocked if they re-signed him. So, you know, maybe you can trade him to, I don't know, like the Hawks. Yeah, everybody goes to the Hawks.
The Hawks got pieces to do something. I don't know if that something should be Julius Randle, but if I'm Minnesota, yeah, you want like a Bogdanovich, a Kongwu type of thing. I don't even know if that might be too much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what team like would kind of make sense. Honestly, like there's a lot of teams. It's weird because I think Randall's a good basketball player, but he doesn't fit on like a lot of teams. Like it's a bad fit.
Yeah.
So it's like, where does he go? But maybe you can send him to like a team like that's just not in the playoffs. Like maybe you can send him to the Wizards and get like a young guy or like something like a piece or something like that, or like a Kuzma, in exchange for him that maybe fits the team a little bit better personnel wise.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
It's just weird. Like there's these players like this in every generation. Like he's one of these dudes. He can walk into like 20, 10, and 5. Although this year it's more like 23, 7, and 5. But regardless, he could walk into those type of numbers, and you kind of look at him and you're like, don't know if you're a fit here. Don't know if you're a fit here. Like it's just
Like I mean, him and I think him and Siakam are similar in like my brain in terms of like their fit with a lot of these teams. Like I think Siakam feels less sticky, but like Indiana is going through it a little bit with Siakam. Like it's not a perfect fit. Like if you had to scale the fit with him and Halliburton on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's like a 5. Like I think it's like an okay fit, but that he was somebody that was willing to re-sign in Indiana, so it's a 10.
Yeah.
So like that, like
and I feel like he's toned down the ball pounding. I feel like he doesn't need the ball as much as Julius Randle. Like you can still function in space with him. He's good at, I like Pascal Siakam in transition, always have also. So that helps. Where I think Julius Randle, he like intentionally wants to play mostly half court offense.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like he's effective when he makes quick decisions, especially when he's playmaking, because he's a damn good passer when he wants to
Great
pass.
passer, I think. Yeah.
But going back to it, like I feel much better about Philly potentially falling into play than Denver. But I'm throwing it out there as like, hey, I mean, given their start, it's not something we could ignore because, you know, there's OKC, there's Phoenix, there's Golden State potentially, there's Dallas we mentioned. The Lakers are sneaky. Like, I mean,
I think the Lakers are gonna be. I think the Lakers are good.
Yeah, like they're I health I'm worried about because they got health luck last year with
Fair.
LeBron and AD, and we'll see. But they have players on their team. Like that, you know, Austin Reeves is good. D'Angelo Russell, I mean, he was good last year. His hair, I can't
Hair
do
is
it.
crazy, bro.
But I like the season he had last year in terms of shooting. We'll see if it could translate over the course of this season. People are high on the Rockets. I think that situation is a little bit muddy because it's just a lot of guys need playing time and they need to make a consolidation deal. I was saying that the Pelicans need to, and now they're banged up. So
Pelicans, I have no idea what they're going to do with that roster. It is crazy.
And then also Memphis.
Yeah, like, well, somebody just commented. They said you have a team for Schroeder. He's balling too much.
Orlando. Does Dennis Schroeder make sense in Denver? Like, could you play him with Jamal Murray? Could you have
a closing? The defense would be so bad.
Yeah, but the shooting would be helpful.
Yeah, well, I think that goes into the trade that got floated around, the Zach LaVine one.
I don't like that one.
I like the idea of Zach LaVine on Denver, but I don't know if I'd want to give up MPJ, which is probably the piece that you have to.
That contract is rough too.
I think the thing is, though, does it matter if the contract's rough, besides from like the owner's perspective, because the team is like locked in, like that's the team.
Then you have to believe Zach LaVine is the piece, right?
Yeah,
like the sort of, which I'm not a Zach LaVine truther at all. No. So like that's where he's 43, 46 million next year. And the year after, a player option for 49 million, in which he will be 31 years old. He's also, you know, he's had a bunch of injuries, lower body injuries in particular, like those legs. So like that's a little concerning to me. Also, wouldn't be my first choice, I think. But like Jokic can make a lot of things just work. I think a lot of the guys that we see in Denver, like I don't know how Jamal Murray would be if he wasn't Jokic's teammate. I'm not saying he'd all of a sudden be like a way diminished player. There are people who believe that though. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.